Queridos televidentes de Fruta Extraña Televisión, bienvenidos nuevamente a otra edición más. Para esta noche aquí está conmigo Izzy Ruiz.
Hey guys, how are you?
Y la doctora Charlie Ferrer, que tenemos un tema muy caliente, como el segmento lo dice, caliente con Dr. Charlie Ferrer. Bienvenida.
Gracias.
Pues el tema de este día es tan grande que vamos a tratar de dividirlo como en dos segmentos. Creo que esa es la idea, ¿no?
Sí.
So,
Sí, dos segmentos. So, vamos a hablar de sexualidad, de todo de sexualidad.
De todo, sin pelos.
Sí, y es también de la gente que nos están escribiendo.
Okay.
So people who are writing into the show, and so we figured we'd do a segment for them.
We're going to read all of your questions and comments about relationships, sex, you name it. We're going to hash it out and get some good advice from Dr. Charlie.
Nice. So if you want to send more questions or comments, or you have a comment about the show and or a show idea, please get in touch with us.
All right, so who wants to start first?
Who wants to start first?
I think you have a question, the first one, the very first one.
I'll start. This one is a fun one. I mean, everything ranges from, you know, relationships, abuse, fun, sort of scary stuff in the workplace. So I'm going to start with the scary one in the workplace. Okay, it says, Dear Dr. Charlie, I've been working with the same boss for 5 years, and for Valentine's Day he gave me a dozen roses. I don't know why. Now, the staff keeps joking with me, saying, what else has the boss brought for you? I feel really embarrassed. What do I do?
Was that a lady? The one that
it says Michael from Brentwood, California.
Wow. Michael, it's more of being comfortable. I mean, are you the only one in the job that's getting these presents? Is this the first time that it happened? Is it something that he does or she does for everyone? So also, what is the feeling that you're getting from your boss? Is it your boss is trying to subtly ask you out? And giving somebody roses on Valentine's Day, that's not the same as giving somebody just a box of chocolate or jelly beans.
Or something.
It's a big sign
or something else. That is
a
big sign. So I think somebody's trying to tell you something.
Did he say what kind of color was the roses?
No. I'm going to guess they're red.
Well, hopefully they're not black.
I mean, I think, can you have black roses?
Yeah.
Oh.
They are really cool, though.
I'm sorry, I'm out of the know. But I think he should approach his boss and say, you know.
If you're curious, find out. I mean, is this a one-time occurrence or is it happening more than once? Are you getting them just on holidays or are you getting them all the time? Because I mean, if you are working in an environment where there's only 1 or 2 employees, then is everyone else getting it? You know, or have you been with this individual for a while? And so you're giving gifts back and forth. If it's just one-sided, I would think that there's a question mark in there somewhere. And so then it would be, how do you want to address it? How do you want to approach your boss and say, you know, thank you for the roses. Was there anything behind that? You know? Or something
I'm kind of
sexy
curious
to
now.
work?
Michael, if you're watching, please let us know what's going on.
Yes, Michael.
By the way.
So,
Okay,
Do you
you're
have
up.
a question?
next. Yeah, I actually got a question from Sonia in Brooklyn. And she says, our first 6 months was great, but we seem to have fallen into a boring routine. How can we spice it up again?
That's a pretty common question, if you think about it.
It is. Do you have a suggestion? Hey, this is for
well,
all
I'm
of us,
dying to get your advice because I've gone through that myself, and it's like you're kind of embarrassed to bring it up, but I think you need to go on vacation.
You need to go.
That's
the
always,
Bahama invention.
that's a fun thing.
Bahama
to get out
intervention, I love
of,
that.
getting out of the rut is to get out of your space.
Exactly.
I like that idea. A long weekend, go to Boston. You know,
Go
that's always
somewhere.
fun.
Don't just stay at home. Because when you do, you know, I mean, the first 3 months, you're just, you know, everything's so wonderful, everything's so new. By the 6th month, you're actually needing a little bit of incentive. You know, what else can you do other than sit at home and watch TV? What else can you do other than cook for each other? What else can you do? And so what I would recommend is having a jar of different events that you want to do, and then having like 10 things in the jar. So if we're talking about things that you can do together, then having 10 different things that you like and 10 different things that I like, and we'll put them in the jar, shake them up, and each week we do one. The same thing
That's fun.
about when you want to, because you can decide somebody wants to go parasailing. I may not go parasailing with you. I may not be the one that wants to jump, but I can watch you.
Hold on, let me ask you that, because what if, like, the thing is, in a relationship that I want to be in, I want to share those activities. You know, like I don't go to the movies by myself because I want to leave the theater talking about it, analyzing it with someone else. So if I want to go parasailing, I want my partner to do it, to be in the scary adventure with me. I don't want them to sit and watch.
You want them to.
Yeah, I mean,
you want them to jump.
That's part of
But remember that if you want your partner, if it's so important for your partner to be the one jumping with you, then you need to pick a partner that is into the acceleration, that is into being adventurous in that way, being physically adventurous. Because if you're picking a partner who is timid or who likes to stay at home and is a homebody, and then you're going to fault them because, hey, why won't you share these things with me? That's not their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So noticing what type of partner you're picking. Is this the right partner for you? Or is it that you've gotten comfortable with this person and you don't want to give them up? So it might be addressing your relationship. Is this really the relationship you want to be in?
I mean, if you are that comfortable, would you say break up and find someone more appropriate? Or would you say that's one thing that you're not going to get out of him, you'll get, or her, you'll get something else?
I would say that if you really love this person, and this is the relationship that you want, and it's not just a comfort thing, then, does parasailing really
mean that much to
you more than your partner?
Right.
But if it's not just the parasailing, it's the parasailing and it's the movies and it's, and you don't have things that your partner wants to share with you, then is this the relationship for you? And understanding that you can go out and do the parasailing and bring that back to your partner to share, wow, look at what I did, or would you watch me? Because a lot of the times when we're in a relationship, we want somebody to witness our life. Mm-hmm. That's really what your partner is. Your partner is a witness in your life and saying, wow, look at the things that you did. Can I
that's so
share
sweet the way
with
you put it that way.
Yeah, and so being able to share. And if it's so important for you to have them share it with you, then you need to pick the right partner for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The other piece too is if you're doing something sexual, because we always go back to the sexual piece. If the adventure is gone for this individual, it's a boring routine. So doing the jar again and putting 10 things that you want to try with your sexuality. This week we're going to do mutual masturbation. Next week we're going to do, sensual massage. The week after that we're going to do kissing. So you put different things in your jar. Each one of you put 10 different things. And do a little kinky stuff in there and have some variety and some role play. Shake up that jar really, really well.
Right.
And then pick something. And each week you do that one thing.
And you would say put something very soft and simple as kissing to the, to put all the extreme stuff. So every day you're like, you're afraid to open the jar.
And I would say that you should talk them over with your partner before putting them in the jar. And that's a piece of communication because you don't want to turn around and put, 10 things that your partner hates. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to sabotage it with your partner going, oh, well, we pick this one, you have to do it. No, it's picking something and letting your partner go, so you have a little date and you go, hey, these are 10 things I'm going to throw in the jar. And sometimes it might take a little bit of tweaking. Mm-hmm. You might have to switch it a little. Oh, I don't mind going parasailing, but I need to jump with you instead of alone.
Right.
Or I don't mind going to the movies with you, but I don't do horror. And if you want horror, it's not going to be with me.
Right.
I'll go and watch a chick flick, or I'll go and watch, action, or I'll go and watch comedy. Those things I can watch with you. So there's a little compromise.
Yeah, but horror is great to go with a partner. You get freaked out. You have your partner there to hold on to.
If you
That's
need
the best
me to
part.
hold on to you, you don't need
That's
horror.
Great. Oh, it's
so
too much.
it's more of, for horror, it's trying to get the person.
It's the great date film.
It's the great first date film.
I'll give you that one,
because
okay.
the person's jumping all over you. But if you're sitting there through the whole movie going, I don't want to look, I don't want to look, I don't want to look. Really, I don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love exhilaration, it just keeps you alive.
I can have exhilaration, but it's not going to be, I put it this way, I'm not that kind of doctor.
Right.
So I
Fair
don't want to
enough,
look
fair
at
enough.
people's insides. You know, I do the sexual piece. But,
Ya, yo tengo una pregunta.
okay.
Viene de Astoria, Astoria Queens.
Hey.
Gracias por esa gente de Astoria, Queens. Dice Luisa que ella encontró a su esposo, o sea, ella no sabía que, él no sabía que ella estaba viéndole. Por accidente entró al cuarto y lo encontró masturbándose. Entonces, she feels like embarrassed, o maybe ella cree que es que no le está dando suficiente satisfacción sexual, ¿no? O si es que él tiene otra y piensa en otra. Entonces, más que pregunta, es un comentario, una ayuda que ella necesita. ¿Qué tú le podrías decir?
Pues entendiendo que la masturbación doesn't mean that they're replacing
Yeah.
you. Masturbation, usually we do it because we're trying to relieve tension. Or we had this image in our head and we wanted to be able to do it and touch ourselves and enjoy the sensation. Pero it's not about them replacing you. It's not about them thinking of somebody else. It might be too that if you're really worried, ask them. You know, does my body still thrill you? You know, or maybe, you know, I gained a little bit of weight and it's a little hard for you to see me at this size, or I don't have enough weight, or maybe you've been sick for a while, or we haven't had sex for a while. I mean, there's a lot of things playing in here. So it's talking to your partner and saying, by the way, I caught you.
Oh my God.
I caught you.
She needs to know that men love to jack off. It's just a
And it is a-
habitual,
and it
common
is a-
thing. It's okay, Luisa. Let him be.
But if you're worried, you can ask him. And again, it is a lot of times it's just, you know, sometimes you need more sexual stimulation and sexual release, you know, than your partner does, and that's okay.
So
I know.
Lisa.
Yes.
Luisa
And I do know one person who actually schedules time to be able to masturbate each day.
The morning
And they have
shower.
it. Yeah. Morning shower, wherever you want. But it allows you to be able to have this time with yourself.
Right. I've been in a relationship for 2 years, and my boyfriend is really into wrestling. I'm not. I play along, but recently the fun has turned into real fighting. I'm getting really worried because the last time we did it, we got into a full-out wrestling match and punches were thrown. What do I do?
Wow.
And this is from James in Queens.
In Queens. That's a touchy one, because domestic violence is in every type of relationship, and let me explain that. I mean by the fact that we find it in the heterosexual community as well as the homosexual community. So it's not just, you know, one section of the community is affected by domestic violence. So it really does take the talking to your partner and saying, you know, this is not something that I enjoy. And noticing that, are you getting upset, and so are you throwing the punches because it's starting to affect you. And depending on, you know, it really doesn't depend on, well, did I throw the first punch or did he? It's more of, let's talk about this. This is not acceptable to me. If you want to wrestle, then you're going to have to find somebody else to wrestle with. And understanding some people do, or especially men, tend to see wrestling as an erotic lead-in and show, is that what this person is doing? Is the wrestling an erotic lead-in for them to do the dominance
I'm guessing
piece?
that's what it is, but my concern is that they got into the fist fight. I think there's something there.
There is something there.
I think the sex flew out the window, and there must be something going on in the relationship that...
And somebody got triggered. And by triggered, I mean somebody ended up going to a place where they felt threatened, or they felt that they had to be dominant over their partner. And so that's where you need to stop and go, you know what, this really isn't working. And whoever if James is feeling uncomfortable, then James really needs to talk and say, you know what, we can find a different way. Or you know what, if we're wrestling, then once I say this is enough, I'm starting to lose it, then we need to stop. You know, it's the same thing with, you know, when you're communicating with your partner on any other topic. You know, how do you say this is not okay for me? And yes, you compromise with your partner in certain things, but when it's something that really affects you in a bad way, that's when it needs to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I mean, I'm not the professional here, but I think he may want to consider seeing a professional with his boyfriend to figure out what was that trigger.
Exactly. And maybe it was something that was said or something that was pushed, or, you know, when does the line get crossed? And for each individual, the line gets crossed at a different place. Also, I'm seeing that maybe the reason why they got into the punching was the fact that he didn't want to do it in the first place.
Probably,
and he
yeah.
keeps getting like you're pushing me and you're pushing me and you're pushing me. And instead of saying, I don't want to do this, you've allowed this person to, you know, to get you into this situation that you finally just blew up.
Right.
You know, and that goes back to, let's talk about things before it becomes an issue, before it becomes anger, before it becomes violent.
I mean, generally men are very tricky, aggressive, you know, species, and whether you're gay or straight, you know what I mean, that's a part of them, and there's always this, you know, I'm not the weak one, and then gay relationships too. It's like, you know, yeah, there may be a top and a bottom, or they're both versatile, good for you, but there's definitely always going to be, I think, a bit of competition because you're still two men in the long run. And how you sort of equal the playing fields requires a lot more attention than you may think. That's what I would say.
Okay, Giovanna.
Yeah, Dr. Ferrer, este es una comentario de Daniela, Downtown Brooklyn. Gracias, Brooklyn.
Hey, Brooklyn's in the house.
Dice, mi novio dice que tiene fantasías sexuales. Siempre que quiere estar conmigo, quiere tener a una chica diferente. Y eso a mí me hace sentir incómoda, me hace sentir insegura. Si realmente me quiere, ¿necesita ayuda, terapia o qué? ¿Qué me recomienda?
It's a good one.
Hi, Daniela.
Hi, Daniela. And it comes to, if your partner is thinking about everybody else but you, when he's being sexual, you do have a problem. You know? So what is he getting from each sexual encounter that he's fantasizing about? Because it seems like he's bringing up a different person and a different person and a different person. And it's okay to occasionally imagine your partner.
That he likes her to be watching them doing that.
Oh, wow.
In front of her.
That's a whole other story.
Espérate, that's a different story. That's not a fantasía.
Es una fantasía de él.
Oh, de
él.
Que él tiene la
tiene que
fantasía.
traer, no, él lleva. O sea, ella para estar contenta con él, ella tiene que tener una chica en su cuarto, donde sea. Pues, pero él quiere que su esposa, su novia, no su esposo o novia. Sí,
Okay.
Mi novio, dice ella, ok. Su novia esté viendo lo que él hace con la otra.
Con la otra. I've totally misunderstood that.
Yeah.
I don't know Spanish.
Sorry.
Es como mi mamá me dice, tú no sabes hablar en español. But,
Pero sí lo entiendo.
see, yeah. That's different, and I'll do both of them. One is if he's needing the fantasy de otra persona.
No,
no. Pero I have begun this one before.
Okay.
If he's thinking that you are somebody else, it's okay to do that every once in a while. It's not okay to do it all the time.
Okay.
So then that means that that person is using you to be sexual. Well,
And that's
it's not you.
It's just like a body.
Yeah. And do you really want to be the body? You know, for that, la mano está ahí.
That's why she said she feels insecure.
Yeah. If he's doing I want you to watch me while I'm having sex with other people, then that becomes the piece of, is that something that you really want to share with your partner? Y si tú no quieres que tu pareja esté con otra persona, if you don't want to share your partner, then that's not the relationship for you. Because there are relationships that are polyamorous, and in polyamorous is where you have more than one partner. However, that's a different type of relationship because you've already established boundaries and you're comfortable in the fact that you two are the priority, you're the main relationship, and you're having occasional sex with other people outside. But for him to force her or him to watch while he's engaged in sexual activities with somebody else, that's not right. And in my opinion, that's abusive.
It's degrading, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so it goes back to the person, is this really the relationship for you? Or do you need to find somebody else? And my big thing is get the frog out so that your prince can come in. Bota el sapo para que el príncipe entre.
Yeah.
Because as long as he's there, you're not going to look for another relationship. And that goes for women and men. As long as the person that isn't treating you right is in your life and you're in a relationship with that person, you will not be looking for a relationship with somebody else.
Right. Because there's nothing wrong with his fantasy, but if it's making her feel that way, then it's not the right place for her.
Exactly. And that's the piece where you have to talk to them and say, this isn't uncomfortable for me. I need it to stop.
Well, I don't think it's a problem.
But no, because
that could be his.
If that's his thing.
I don't know.
If he's forcing her to watch,
that's a problem.
Then that's a problem because that's not where she wants to be. And if it's just a fantasy that he's doing, then that's also a problem because he's sharing the fantasy with you, so he's forcing you into that fantasy with him. And so again, goes back to, is this really the relationship for you? And understanding that, and I'll make this point before we close, but understanding that just because you have a great relationship with somebody as far as, you know, emotionally and being able to talk to them and they're your best friend and so on, doesn't mean that you're going to have a great sexual relationship. And if that relationship that you're in isn't meeting all your needs, then you need to consider whether it's one that you want to continue in. Because you can keep that person as a friend and say, you know what, you're my soulmate for friendship, but you're not my soulmate sexually.
Exactly.
And so understanding that if you're looking for a relationship that's based on your sexuality and taking all the other pieces into account, then you need to really look at that. And maybe this isn't the person for you, but they can still be a friend, and it was great having them around. Because in every relationship, we learn something new from ourselves, about ourselves, in every relationship. And that's why having, you know, being in relationships is a wonderful thing. Because the person acts as a mirror for you. Whether it's a mirror on your compassion or your relationship skills or your sexual skills, it's a mirror, you know, and they're giving you a piece of. And so you keep going until you find the right person for you. Here you go.
One from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Who lives in the Bronx? Marta from the Bronx. What is the G-spot? Can you describe that?
Yes, thank you, Marta, for bringing it up, bringing it back up.
Yes, the G-spot, that all-inclusive hidden piece. The G-spot is actually a point, and Marta, and I'm going to do both because Marta is asking about the G-spot, and the men also have a G-spot.
I was going to ask you about that.
You asked me about that after I finished with Marta. But the G-spot is a point inside the woman, and the way to find that is if you put your hand right on your stomach, okay, you put your thumb. Well, you can do this too because if you ever have a girlfriend,
ain't gonna happen.
So for men who would like to know where the G-spot is,
only you.
If you put your hand right on, you put your thumb on your belly button, and you put your hand, you lay your hand here. It's actually just about the point of your pinky, okay? And it's about 4 inches up from your clitoris, okay? Not 4 inches, but you know, like 4 fingers up. And what it is it's inside, and it's a point that when it gets rubbed, you know, it gets engorged. And that's the sensation. Yeah.
That's a great word.
And so when it gets engorged, it ends up being very, very sensitive. And because of that sensitivity, it feels better. But only for some women, because some women don't like to be stimulated in their G-spot.
Oh.
Because it's too intense?
Sometimes it's too intense and it's a little painful. And some women feel uncomfortable, and also stimulating the G-spot may also make you have an ejaculation and go into female ejaculation.
Which is not a good thing?
No, female ejaculation actually happens in some women and not others. And it's basically when your body releases the liquid inside.
Yeah, it's great.
So, yeah, it's just like a man ejaculating, a woman can too.
Right on.
And so, but some women and some men feel that when a woman ejaculates, it's that she's urinating, which is not true.
Oh, okay.
So it feels like, because you get like a rush of water, it feels like the woman is urinating, but she's not. And so some women like the G-spot stimulated, others don't.
Well, does the ejaculation come out of the urethra or?
Yes, it does.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That would be like peeing, I guess.
Well, it would seem, but it's not.
It seems, but no, it's not.
It's just like when a man ejaculates, he's not peeing. He's not urinating.
Although it can happen.
It's the ejaculation Well, we won't even touch that one right now.
Okay.
And the G-spot on men is actually in their anus.
Oh.
Yeah, it's over
The
here.
G-spot on men,
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
like that.
Okay.
Because the G-spot for men is their prostate.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that's why it's also very important for men to have their prostate stimulated, because this way it helps to keep it healthy.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't mean nothing else, right?
No, it doesn't mean, I mean, a lot of people think, well, oh, if a man wants his G-spot stimulated, then that must mean he's homosexual, because you have to go through the anus.
heard that.
And it's not true. Just because you like
Very
different
interesting,
pieces
Yeah.
of your sexuality played with doesn't mean anything other than you like that. So for people who are heterosexual, heteroflexible, knowing that any part of your body is okay.
So how can a straight man get his prostate massaged?
You would either do it digitally with your fingers, or you would do it with a toy. They can have, they have anal toys that are made that are very thin. So depending on how thick you need the penetration. But what you're doing is you're stimulating the prostate, is all you're doing. And men can actually ejaculate from that and
Yes,
be
they
very
can.
orgasmic from it. So.
I'm gonna stay away from this one.
We love sex. Sex, sex, sex. There's a, I'm writing for Alora's Cave now and writing some articles for them, and they have,
Oh, wow.
they're sending me this t-shirt that says, got sex. I like
Yes,
that
you do.
t-shirt.
Got
I
sex.
want
When?
sex.
You have to
Get
wear it on the
sex?
show one day.
What's
That'll be
that?
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I'll see if they can even do a show with us or something.
Oh, that'd be really
Sexy
fun.
writing.
Oh, that's good. I think
that.
erotic
Yes.
writing is really a hot turn on. To be able to write it, to be able to get your fantasies on paper is such a sort of a process of really
Yes.
getting through the whole fantasy from beginning to end. And that
Mis queridos televidentes de Fruta Extraña Televisión, esto fue todo por esta noche. Millones de gracias para aquellos que nos escribieron. Que
It was
por cierto,
so much fun.
el
I
tiempo
loved
es
it.
muy corto, tenemos muchas más para hacer y yo creo que debemos hacer otro programa porque fue excelente. Temas desde lo más serio hasta lo más jocosos, ¿no? Pero la verdad a todos le prestamos la atención debida y muchísimas gracias por ese cariño tan grande que nos tienen a escribirnos. A esas personas del Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island y Queens y las personas que nos ven a través de la página, muchísimas gracias. Izzy, if you want to say something.
Yeah, thanks again, and also look for us on the internet because you can always catch us all over the country and send in more stuff. This is one of the most favorite shows that I've done. So keep writing to us, all right? Have a great sexual life.
Que Dios lo bendiga y hasta la vista. Chao, chao.
Chao.
Bye, bye.